once you win it, and you've got to go all the way to the end.
Lando into the final corner, his first win of the championship. Lando across the line to win in China.
Because you commit yourself to such a level where there is no compromise. You give everything you have.
The strategy paid off. Yeah, one of the best hits I've ever seen on the medium tires. Nick Vildellen wins the Monaco Grand Prix.
Deep in it was the final chicane. Rudy's trying to go for it on the inside. There's still both wheels around it. May Will's obstacles gone down.
Oh my word!
And you need more than anything a very clear mind to understand exactly when is the moment to be aggressive, when is the moment to be calculated.
He spun. Brendan's spun.
Oh, wing image. Oh, Brendan's out.
He's down a race. Oh my God, he's down a race.
When you are under a lot of pressure, in a critical moment, in a championship or in a particular race, it's the one that can put together the combination between aggressivity and calculating things that will get the best result.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the League of Europe. We are here for round number 4 around the Austrian circuit, the Red Bull Ring. My name is Jacob, of course, taking you guys through this as always. Joined alongside me for tonight, it's not actually Dakar, it is, and he's back in the booth once again, it is Mr. QVR Verstappen. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream of Division 2. At Austria here. I'm doing quite well. Looking forward to the race. Austria is an interesting track for racing, you could say. One time it can pan out to be a really good race, sometimes quite boring, with a lot of DRS trains, but we'll see how that goes on tonight.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And as I said, or as you just said, there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of DRS trains that go on. So I expect to see quite a lot of them be sort of around here tonight. And yeah, I feel like just this long race is going to be a DRS train, unless, of course, it is wet weather, which is highly possible, because I know wet around here, as I said, I don't think we've had it in any of the divisions yet, in 1, 3 and 4, but I know it is quite possible, so we might see it now, or we might even be in Division 5. If you obviously want to go check that out, Killer Blue and Packer are currently doing that as well, so just check it out on the channel. But as I said, we're here for Division 2. If you want to have an update on the standings and a little update in general, Mr. Rooney has been moved up. So Rooney 1973 moved up from Division 2 to Division 1. So he is now not in, obviously, the contention for the championship. And I'm just trying to see who it is that's taken his spot. I believe it is... No, it's not Bumpier. I'm trying to see who actually took his spot. Calvin. So the Belgian has taken his spot as a full-time driver in the other McLaren. So that means that brings this championship very, very close with obviously everything that's going on at this moment as well. Quickly just switch over the game so you can have a look. But yeah, so Division 2 now, as it stands, Nathan JB on 27 points is leading this championship because of really taking the 2 wins at the very start of the season. Gary is in second, 1 point behind on 26, tied with Car Mentalist in third with also 26 points. And then you've got Larkin and Slash both on 25 points in fourth and fifth, with Slash of course picking up his first win last week around Portimao. Mr. BT is in sixth as a reserve, which is very good, with 21 points, tied with Zardama in seventh with 21. Timon is in 8th with 19 points, Creco in 9th with 13, and then Prime, after picking up 4th place last week as a reserve. Don't think he's actually in with us this evening, but he is sitting in 10th in the standings on 12 points as well. So, yeah, it's sort of very close within the standings because of really getting moved up. Are we maybe seeing, or do you reckon we'll see any sort of stand-up performances from anyone this evening, do you reckon, yeah?
We could definitely see some. I'm expecting Timon to do very well. I think this will track will suit him. So I think that's one to look out for. Nolan, I know, likes this track a lot as well. So another one to keep an eye out for. In the meantime, TTG Slash has started his lap. He's on the medium tyre. He's just gone around turn 1. DRS is open for the second time actually, because the first time is down the start-finish straight. Sector split is a 15.9, which is very decent for the mediums. Down into turn 3, difficult braking zone and difficult traction zone as well. There's another DRS zone coming up, so you can see the DRS trains already forming. Down into turn 4, using the curb on the entry to brake. Down into third, fourth, gear. Down into turn 5, long flat right, and into turn 6, double left. These are very difficult corners, and the curbs can be very lethal, especially in the second one here, down towards turn 7. If you touch that inside curb, you're basically gone. Down towards the last 2 corners, and turn 9 and 10. And using quite a bit of the entry curb here, bit of a slide through turn 9, and now down towards turn 10. Open up the DRS, and across the line goes TTG Slash with a 103.9.
Very good starter lap for Slash, of course, our race winner last week out in Portimao, and just proving again, especially on the mediums, doing a 3.9. That's a pretty good time, I would admit. But Emily Creco on a set of softs, just outbeating that, as there you go. QRT Timon as a banker lap, a 3.499. That is a very quick banker lap, and I'm expecting a lot of the times, I know Division 2 is very close anyway, but I'm expecting a lot of these times to be very close with each other. You know, you got all of these guys are very close. Just when you see the qualifying through Portimao, through France and Imola, all of those 3 tracks, the qualifying has been very close. With Austria, with there being only a number of corners that you can probably count on 2 hands, it's very difficult to try and separate any of the gaps that you'll see within this. The only thing that will separate them are the differences of the tyres that they go on, and even then, the differences of tyres from the mediums to the softs is only separated by about 0.4 of a second. So I'm expecting the guys that are on a set of the mediums to be going for a second lap, like what Slash is doing. So Slash is actually geared himself up to go for yet another lap on the set of medium tyres, and obviously a lot of other guys are out on their laps currently. You know, you've got the likes of XL Tinkan, who's on his lap, just coming through, or coming up towards the final 2 corners. Emily Scream as well, who has just started on his first lap as well, but I'm just wondering on board with Tinkan as he makes his way up towards the line, goes across the line, and it's a 4.230 to start it off for the Haas driver.
Yeah, not all too strong of a lap, but he has a lap on the board, so he'll be fine with that, I reckon. Let's have a look. Anyone else across the line? I think Nolan has come to the end of his lap. He's invalid, however. It's also an easy thing to do, invalidate your lap around here. Funky Chicken across the line, a 3.8 goes into P4.
Yeah, definitely a nice time for the Mercedes driver, up into 4th position, as you said. And yeah, as I said, a few other guys just making their way around the track as well. Calvin, I don't know if he's going for another lap. I don't think he is now. He's on 20% battery, so I don't think he's going to be attempting another lap. And same with Nolan. Both of those guys, the 2 REL drivers, or 3 REL drivers, because it looks like Carl Mentelis has done the same thing, and so has Hardy, interestingly enough. All don't look like they're actually going to be improving on their times or putting on a proper time on the board at the moment. As who was that just improved then? I think that was Scream. Yeah, so Emily Scream up into P8, 3.949. I'm going to ride on board actually, I believe, with I was going to say it was ride on board with June, but unfortunately he's invalidated probably at turn number 1. Ride on board with Tibos. TTG Tibos has been missing for the past 2 weeks, been out in America, and he is just making his way around turn number 3 now. Very nice out on traction is the Brit in the Williams, and riding up on towards turn number 4. Is he going to get this one stopped perfectly in time? Let's have a quick look at that one. Very nicely done. Down in the second, short shift into 3rd, up into 4th, and just carrying that speed as much as you possibly can through there. Now coming around turn number 6, as it's a double left-hander turn, shall I say. Don't, like you said, you don't want to be touching that inside curb. Now coming around turn number 8. And again, Tibos just not utilising that curb on the right-hand side. Sometimes I know it can chuck you in the wall, but if you want to try and gain that time, you do kind of want to be mounting onto that curb. Now through the final 2 corners, down into 4th and up into 5th goes Tibos. And up towards the line he goes, and it puts him up into P9 with a 4.156. I'm sure he is going to look to try and improve on that lap time, because I don't think he'd be too happy with that lap time, for most of you. But yeah, I'm assuming we'll see him go out and improve on that one. And I believe Doom is now on his lap, so he must have just sort of, where he invalidated, just built himself back up and is now going for his second lap.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do. He's usually one of the quickest guys in qualifying, but has trouble to utilize his speed into the race. Let's see what he can do around here. Takes turn 6 quite nicely, a lot on the edge, 44.4, not all too bad, as he just about runs wide and understeers of the track and invalidates his lap. Unfortunate to see from him. No one else on the lap currently, I think.
Doesn't look as if anybody else is out on a lap. I know I can see Larkin out on an out lap right behind him on the set of the mediums. So we're right on board with Larkin in the Alfa Romeo. See how he gets on around this lap, because I think he'll be the only other one with Doom that will be doing their laps. So through turn number 1, Larkin very nicely done, and nicely cut as well on the entrance and the exit of turn number 1. DRS now wide open, of course, for the Alfa Romeo driver. On the set of the medium tyres, by the way, he's doing a 3.916. I believe that was on a set of the soft tyres he's done them on. Yeah, so he's going to try and look to improve on that time. DRS now wide open for the third time, shall I say now, of this lap. And let's see how he gets on. Coming down towards turn number 4, keeps it in 3rd gear, probably short shifts it up into 4th. A little bit of oversteer out of the exit of that. It's going to cost him probably about a 10th just on that time alone, or half a 10th of that time alone, shall I say. Now through turn number 6, again, another slide. Larkin just looking like he's using a bit of an unstable setup, but it's not benefiting him in any sort of way. Now come through turn number 8, he does land the curb a little bit, but again, not utilising it as much. It was a bit more than Tibos, but again, just not as much as possible before. I think he is improving on his time. When I was saying that, he runs just the tiniest bit wide out of the second to last corner, and that's cost him his time. That was looking like a very good time in the end. I think that might have even been into P2. However, that invalidation, he's now down into 6th and not making an improvement on that time. Boumpier going up into P10, as I believe that was Gary. No, it wasn't Gary, sorry. AJ Wuhan and Forza Brendan both improving on their time. Ironically, both setting the same time.
Quite mad to see that, and just proof of how close the times are going to be this whole session, and how close the skill gap here is. Let's have a look. Anyone else? I think Nolan is on the lap on the mediums. 44.3. That's a very good time, actually. Let's have a look. Is he going to improve and get himself into the top 10? As he just takes a bit too much of that inside curve on turn 9, and yeah, I think he's also invalidated his next lap, so he's going to have to cool down and try again. Unfortunate to see, because he wasn't a good lap.
Yeah, no, he certainly was. Very unfortunate, of course, for Ariel Nolan. There's still 7 drivers, that have yet to put a time on the board. I was saying that Calvin has just put one on the board, but it's P14 with a 111.8. So, of course, that's not exactly a lap that he would like. He's probably going to try and go for another lap. So we'll see how he gets on around there. There is a slow Alfa Romeo coming up towards turn number 3, as I believe that was Nathan JB on a set of the medium tyres. A 3.801 for our current championship leader. That is a very good time. A lot of people like to say that he is a bit more of a qualifying merchant than a race merchant. I'm sure he'd like to admit that himself, but yeah, very good time indeed from the McLaren man on a set of the medium tyres. And not only that, I think he's going again. From the looks of things, he looks like he is still pushing for this lap time, as I believe someone else might have just improved on their time. I think that was Tin Can up into P11 with a 104.0 on a set of the medium tyres. So he's making his way up onto P11. As I say that, Hardy sets the time on the board for him now. 3.890 puts him into P8.
Calvin.
Bit of a lower spot as Calvin straight on pole at the moment with a 3.487, 12 thousandths of a second up ahead of time. And I'm still right on board with Nathan as he's making his way around the final 2 corners. This might actually be an improved lap from Nathan as he makes his way up towards the line. Is it an improvement? No, it's just shy of an improvement. Maybe just that derating at the end of that lap has just cost him an even quicker time than what he's already set.
It could definitely have. Yeah, if you do 2 laps in a row, it's definitely gonna drain your battery a lot and you have no time to save. Let's see, Zedemek coming across the line at the P14 only, not known as a qualifying merchant whatsoever, as I see Hardy just gone round in turn 6. Just catching on board with that. No damage whatsoever though. Let's have a look. I think one of the Alfa Romeos, Slash, has got a 5-place grip penalty for collision with Carmentalist.
He's nowhere near that.
Not sure what's happened. Hang on, where's Slash? No,
they're near each other now, but it's because Slash has just caught up to Carmentalist, which is very strange.
Very odd. Unfortunately,
very strange.
See then. Anyways, Kira T. Timon has gone into pole with 1,000th of a second ahead of Calvin.
Oh my goodness, so this qualifying just already showing as well what people are capable of. 1,000th of a second is the gap, and I think that already sums up how the rest of this qualifying is going to play out. Around on board with the relentless driver of Funky Chicken in the Mercedes. He's making his way around the final 2 corners. Let's have a look and see what he does up towards the line. Here comes Funky Chicken. This is looking like a very good lap from him. Up in the P3 with a 3.580 for the Mercedes, man. And I think a few other guys were going to come around the final corner, but they've just made their way into the pits. Ariel Nolan is on an outlap to do his lap as well. Doom is invalidated on his lap, and Larkin, yeah, he's making his way around the double lefts as well. 1.5 tenths up on his time. This will put him, weirdly enough, actually, yeah, on the mediums. This will put him up ahead of Nathan, so the highest medium runner this will be if Larkin does this, as Doom has been out of turn number 4. But Larkin now coming around the final 2 corners, up towards the line comes Larkin. DRS now wide open for the Brit, and it's an improvement, but it's not beaten Nathan's medium time. He does put it into P8, but he didn't manage to. I think sector 3 was just a little bit of a drop down from him from those first 2 sectors, but still P8 on the set of the medium tyres. Very good time indeed.
AJ Wuhan, he's coming across the line. He's got a very good lap, a 103.4, and puts it into pole.
Very nicely done from AJ Wuhan. Straight up onto pole position now, in contention with the rest of those guys, as a few other guys making their way around the lap. I'm going to run on board with Ariel Nolan because I think he is, never mind, he's invalidated on his lap, so he's not going to be looking at an improvement on that anytime soon. Is Bumpy on a lap? I think Bumpy is on a lap. The Slash has retired from the session 5 minutes early, interestingly enough, so I don't know why that's the case, but yeah, I'm surprised he didn't try and go for one more improvement lap. But yeah, Slash in the pit lane has retired in P12. I know he's got a 5 grid place penalty, so maybe that's just doesn't want to try and start any higher than that. Not too sure, but yeah, around on board with Bumpier now as he's making his way around sector 3 and making his way up towards the final 2 corners. He's done a 104.138 so far into P17, and he's looking to try and improve on this lap time, and this is looking like it could be a decent lap time from Bumpier as he makes his way up towards the line now. What's Bumpier going to do as his time? And it's a 103.927 into P12 up ahead of TTG Slash, so he will still at least get a free choice of tyre, but he needs to make his way into the pits if he wants to try and get one more lap done ASAP. He might, just might, have enough time to get that one done. But I'm going to run on board with Nathan JB, or actually in fact Ariel Nolan. I don't know if he's still on his lap, but no, he's invalidated on his lap, so we're right on board with Nathan JB anyway, as I believe Nathan might be going for his final 2 laps now.
I think he will. He's trying to avoid all the traffic, but I don't know if that's going to come to his advantage whatsoever. He's a 10th up for turn 1 essentially, sector 1. Very good sector 1 split actually, and DRS is open. Let's see where he can get up to, because obviously his first time was on the mediums, now on the softs. Can he improve a lot? Can he get up to the pole position time? Now down towards turn 4, very clean exit there. And he's looking to be on a quick lap here, down into turn number 6, brushing the curb on the inside just about that it doesn't spin you. And he is almost 4 tenths up. He's looking towards the pole time surely here. Bonky has gone into P5 with his 2nd consecutive lap. And now across the final 2 corners. A lot of commitment there by Nathan JB, but a bit too much as he invalidates. And he's going to have to try and go again immediately. And he's going to have a lot of traffic as everyone's just heading out of the pits now.
Yeah, so this is going to be very difficult for Nathan. We'll stick on board with him because I don't think anybody else is going to make an improvement. As saying that though, Bumpier didn't even realise during that lap he's actually improved on his time and puts it into P5 with a 3.630. So the Ferrari driver up into that top 5 positions now, as a few other guys are making their way on their laps. Gary, I've just seen a turn number 1 or a final corner, I think, invalidated. So he's going to try and go one more lap to try and get this done in the end. But yeah, still right on board with Nathan, making his way up towards turn number 4. I didn't see if he was actually up or down on his time, but I think he's still going to be trying to push this as much as possibly can. There's a massive bit of oversteer from the Ferrari, from the McLaren driver, means that he might struggle to well, I don't think it's going to improve on his lap time, because that lap time on a set of mediums is a very quick lap time. Has a little bit of an oversteer on that curb. Everyone trying to sort of move out of his way. Scream almost going in the back of someone. One of the Ferraris. I'm not too sure who that was. That might have even been AJ Wuhan. But around the final corner up towards the line comes Nathan JB. Is it improvement on his medium time? It certainly is. A 103.639. And I don't think that's the time that he would have liked. He might, I was about to say, he might try and gear up. If he's got enough fuel, he has got just enough time to go for one more lap, but then that's 3 or 4 laps almost more or less done on a set of the soft tyres, which is going to be a struggle for him late on in that race. But a lot of guys now are all on their laps. 2 other people aren't, which are just Timon and Tibos. So we're going to ride on board with, I believe it is Ariel Forza Brendan, Division 3 champion last season. Yeah, no, he certainly has backed off on that time, so he's not going to look to improve on that. Yeah, Emily Krico now making his way around the final 2 corners. So let's have a look and see what the AlphaTauri driver is going to do as he makes his way up towards the line. DRS now wide open for the AlphaTauri, and it's up into P4 with a 3.534 and a few other guys behind as well. I believe that was Hardy that put in another time, but didn't end up improving on that either. Ariel Calvin, I believe, starting on his lap as who was that just improved? That was Zaldemar, I believe it was. So up into P10 goes the Dutchman, and a few other guys just making their way around the final corner. Emily Scream now towards the line, right behind his teammate, 0.02 of a second behind his teammate. You can see those Emily drivers so evenly matched between the pair of them, and yeah, makes that very, very interesting for the remainder of this qualifying, which is only about 30 seconds left to go. So everyone pretty much now on their final laps. There's a lot of guys making their way around the final corner and up towards the line. Gary, I think, has actually spun at the final corner and invalidated on his time, so he is not going to be improving on his time, and P9 is going to be the best that we see for the Red Bull drivers. For some reason, he's just sort of pulled over to the side of the track. Funky Chicken up towards the line, though. No, it wasn't. Sorry, it was Forza Brendan up towards the line, and just managed to start a final lap. Well, I was saying that, unfortunately for him, he's invalidated on his final run.
Yeah, I think he invalidates for the final corner, which invalidates both lap times. Sedema is backing off through the final corner. He does not want to start inside the top 10. Let's have a look at the front. Scream is invalid. Next is a Ferrari, AJ Wuhan. He is down on his time. I don't expect an improvement. We'll right on board of him. Let's have a look. Is he going to improve? No, he is not. Carmen Robb next. He is going to improve. P15 only, however. I think it's Tinka next. No improvement there. Tibos goes up to P13. And the 2 Alfa Romeos are next. Larkin's invalid. Timon, let's have a look. Is he going to improve? Yes, he is. 103.1. Very quick time there, and that should be pole position. Funky Chicken, no improvement there, and I think that's everyone. Forza Brendan has not got any time left, and he's invalid as well. So that will be QRT Timon on pole.
Yeah, what a lap time that was from Timon. I think, what was the pole position in Division 1 again? It was somewhere around that.
It was a 3.2, so he's actually gone quicker than the Division 1 pole.
I just want to write that down then, I suppose. QRT Timon straight on pole position, a 3.196. 2/10 up ahead of AJ Wuhan in second. Calvin in third and Krico in fourth. Very good qualifying for both Calvin and Krico. Krico's usually one that's sort of in the mid-pack of qualifying, so to see him in fourth position, he might have a bit of a better... If he has a good start, then he's got an opportunity to get in podium as well, because I don't think he's one of those ones that tend to pick up that many penalties either. And penalties will play a massive part around this track, especially considering how fast it is. And you could see the amount of people that invalidated on their first runs, on their second runs as well. It's so vital, people picking up penalties around here. But as I said, QRT Timon, weirdly enough, is the fastest one around this track this evening, putting it at 103.196 on pole. AJ Wuhan in second, Calvin lining up on the second row with Krico in fourth, Screaming Funky Chicken on the third row in fifth and sixth. In seventh and eighth, of course, is Bumpier and Nathan JB, and then the Irish front fifth row, of Gary and Forza Brendan. One we need to keep our eye out on that one. Hardy in 11th with Nolan in 12th, Tibos 13th, Zalderman 14th, Larkin 15th, Carmen Robin 16th, Slash in 17th, Tinkan in 18th, Carmentalist in 19th, and Doom the final position. But we've got to remember, Slash has that 5 grid place penalty, and Hardy starting on the poor man's pole position. So I always say the one on the poor man's pole position, if it isn't raining, is one we need to keep our eye out for.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have a look if the weather is dry, but I think it will be dry because I saw a lot of people trying to qualify in the mediums. It could have suggest that there's rain later on in the race, but yeah, not too sure. We'll have to look at that. Yeah, tyre strategies here. It's fairly easy. Soft, medium, wide pit range. Mediums basically go almost the entire race. And if you're outside the top 10, we'll probably see a lot of medium softs. I don't think we'll see many starting on the softs, and I'd be surprised if I see anyone in the hards this race.
Yeah, no, as you said, it's a very sort of easy medium to soft tyre outside of the top 10, or if you did want to try and go soft medium, you can, but like I said, it's a lot easier doing a medium at the soft, because especially towards the end of it, like we said at the beginning of this race, it's a lot of DRS trains, so if you're starting on a set of mediums and you stay within DRS of the rest of the guys on the on the soft tyres in the first stint, you've got a very good chance in that second stint to try and get some moves done. Everyone outside top 10, other than Carwin Robb, is on a set of the medium tyres. Carwin Robb has gone for a set of the softs, down in 16th position. So that's I don't know if he's meant to do that. If he has, it's a bit of a bold one. If he hasn't, that's a shame. But yeah, it's going to be I think it's going to be a bit of a tough one for Carwin Robb to try and get some moves done, especially before the DRS gets activated.
Hardy has left the session. That's unfortunate to see. Let's hope he can rejoin back into the session. So he is basically in the prime position for the old strat, P11. So let's hope he can rejoin. In the meantime,
yeah. I was going to say, hopefully not within the formation line, because otherwise it just glitches the entire
yeah, will glitch out indeed. So yeah, let's hope he can rejoin after the race has started, essentially. Yeah, laying up towards the grid, let's have a look how this is going to fall out, because Austria, very difficult track to overtake, which you might not say it is, but in the DRS train, I don't think we'll see many.
Yeah, no, there'll definitely be like a lack of opportunities to overtake. Obviously, if the trains do break up, which they have done, as weird as it seems, within the last few races, there's definitely been like bigger gaps within the trains. So if there is that, if we see that again tonight, then it's going to sort of form up into 2 to 3 different trains, which is going to be a bit interesting if that is how it's going to play out. But everyone's just now lining up their way onto the grid. Just wait for Slash, of course, at the very back of the grid to line up, and we can get this race straight underway. As I said, QRT Timon going to be leading us off of it, with AJ Wuhan alongside him. As I said, Calvin and Creco in 3rd and 4th. Might try and look to get a good jump as we're waiting for the 5 red lights to come on. You can see the 3, the 4, the 5 red lights for round number 4 around the Red Bull Ring. And it is lights out, and away they go. And it looks as if Timon getting a very nice start in comparison to AJ Wuhan. In fact, the top 2, very good start between the pair of them. The 2 Emily boys just trading positions. Scream up into 4th. Creco now into 5th. Gary and Bumpier now trading positions. Bumpier not having a very good start, and the Irishman now already up into 8th position, side by side with Gary, shall I say, coming up in towards turn number 3. They're basically Noah's Arking all the way up there. 2 wide. Forza Brendan diving it up the inside of Bumpier and Gary, and Bumpier goes around because of it. It wasn't a very good move from Forza Brendan, but that's just how that goes, I suppose. Nathan JB and Creco both going side by side now in towards turn number 4. Creco has to back out of that one. Nathan, nice move, splitting the 2 Alpha Tauris now up into 5th, and you can already see there's a bit of a train already breaking away. Those top 4, 7/10 of a second up ahead of Nathan because of all the battling that's been going on. Bumpier Slash trading positions, Doom and Hardy trading positions as well, as I believe Hardy's just made his way back into the session, so he's now back into his car. Doom now still in last position. Let's see, Hardy started in 12th position. Is he going to be able to start making his way through, as there's a lot of contact going on towards the back end of the grid? Nolan and making his way into the pits on lap number 1, so I think he must have picked himself up some sort of damage. Not too sure. I don't think anybody else is making their way into the pits, so I'm not too sure what happened with Nolan.
Yeah, I think both Nolan and Jim got damage from all the carnage happening in turn 3, maybe turn 4. There was a lot going on there. In the meantime, Timon is trying to break away. He's already down to 50% ERS, so he's trying to break that gap, but I don't think he'll be successful. He is making AJ Wuhan drain his battery as well. 40% he is down to. So let's see how this unfolds. It might open up opportunities for guys in P3 and 4.
Yeah, no, it certainly will do. As you're saying that though, Emily Scream struggling to keep up himself with Calvin, and AJ Wuhan struggling to keep up with Timon, already almost breaking that 1 second gap. However, AJ Wuhan still has about 50% of his battery to use, whereas Timon only 30%. And you can see they're both using that now to keep themselves within that DRS, and Timon has just about broken away that 1 second gap. Of course, you're not going to get DRS on this finish straight, but in towards turn 1, you will see the DRS then get activated. There's yellow flags towards the back. That is yet the Welshman of Carwin Robb spinning that around just before the pit entry as well. AJ Wuhan, by the way, didn't get the DRS, interestingly enough, and Calvin is 0.8 of a second behind the Ferrari driver. So AJ Woohan really needs to try and get his way into that DRS, and I think he might have just about done it. I think he's probably running a little bit of a lower wing strategy or low wing setup from Timon, as he's now gotten himself back in that DRS of the Dutchman. But the top three already pulling out that gap. 1.7 seconds separates Scream from Calvin, as Nathan trying to go down the inside in towards turn number 4. A little bit of contact between the pair of them. I think Nathan gets that move done in the end. Very nicely done from Nathan. I said a little bit well banging, but got the move done in the end. Now in the P4, it's well, the McLaren's sitting in 3rd and 4th is a very good result, and of course the championship leader now 2 seconds behind those top 3. Needs to try and get himself a move on to try and get himself back up into contention with those top 3 guys, and you can already see how much he's gaining on them. I don't know what's happened with Scream, if he's got himself any damage, like underfloor damage, or any sort of not visible damage.
I think it's more tactical what he's doing here. If you look at both AlphaTauri's ERS, they are above 80%. If you look at the top 4, none of them are above 50, with Timon even being like 10 now. So he is not to drain anymore, as I think Carver Rob is fun again. Slash left the session I saw as well, so that's unfortunate to see. But now it's up to Nathan JB to catch up to the top 3. Oh, let's see if he can get there.
I was going to say, there's the Irish battle that's going on for P8 and P9. Forza Brendan and Gary both side by side coming through turn number 3. Gary does manage to hold it up as Forza Brendan tries to almost dive that down the inside of Gary for that P8 position. As I said, it's a battle of the Irish, and it's whoever's going to come out on top. Gary is the one that is up ahead at the moment, though, and stays up ahead for the time being. I wonder if Funky Chicken might try and help out his teammate, however. He's about 5 attempts up the road from Gary, so he might try and either break away from him or just try and sort something out, as there's more yellow flags. That is Carmen Robb, our first retiree of the session on lap number 4. Very unfortunate for the Aston Martin driver, but yeah, he is now out of the session. But yeah, like I said, the top 3 completely breaking away, and AJ Woohan is now all over the back of Timon with the help of that DRS. He's now got that activated once again, and Timon needs to try and build some of that ERS back, because he's only set on 15% of his battery, so he's going to really struggle to defend if AJ Woohan comes into striking distance, which look how close he is coming through turn 3. He's definitely within striking distance, as Funky Chicken gets the move done on Creeko. Gary giving a little bit of a bump onto the back of the German as well.
Yeah, give him a Funky Chicken, as AJ Woohan is now Danny inside for the race lead, and he is through into P1. Timon has no ERS to defend that anymore. He's going to sit in behind for now.
Interestingly enough, though, with all this battling going on, Nathan still can't seem to catch up with them. He's still staying about 2.5 seconds behind Calvin. And Calvin's, of course, caught up to those top 2 where they were battling, but Nathan can't seem to. In fact, he's lost a lot more time than when Scream was the one that was trying to chase them down. So I don't know what's happened with Nathan, but you know, he's really struggling to try and keep up with the rest of these guys. Of course, he's the one that's leading this train, and I don't think Scream's going to try and go for any sort of moves at this present moment, but we might see something from these top 2 once again, as I think Timon wants that place back off of AJ Woohan, uses a tiny bit of his ERS to catch up to him, but he's not using his DRS, and in fact he sort of backs off as well. He may want the DRS on the next straight, so let's just keep an eye on with the Dutchman and see what he does. As also Calvin trying to go for a move, as you're saying, Scream almost getting a move done on Nathan. A little bit of an oversteer though coming through turn number 3 as they're going back on board with the top 2. Timon stays behind AJ Woohan for now, so I'm surprised we're not seeing him go for a move to try and maybe pull away from him again, because Timon evidently was so much quicker than what AJ Woohan was in the first set of laps before the DRS, so I'm surprised I haven't seen Timon try and push that as much as he possibly can and get a bit more of a breakaway from the Ferrari. But I suppose with DRS it's very, very difficult, as a little bit further down the field, Gary very, very close to the back of Creeko. And even closer is Larkin to the back of Forza Brendan. We might start to see these medium tyres come into fruition against the set of the sauce. And there you go, Forza Brendan, in fact, comes in.
Very early stop here. It's possible. We'll see. He will go on to the mediums, I reckon. I don't expect to see any hards. Looking towards the front of the race time, and once again on the back of AJ Woohan. Is he going to try and overtake this time? No, he's weaving. Right in behind. This is very early to play the games already, I've got to say. And it'll be interesting how this develops, because if you go too far with this, it is very easy to cause any sort of accidents or whatever. As Hardy and Carmentelis, the both Alpines are battling here. Carmentelis stays ahead on the exit of turn 3, however.
And even further up ahead as well, Larkin trying to look around the outside of the Irishman of Gary in towards turn 4, almost going into the back of Creeko from late, breaking that late, but Very nice traction coming out of turn number 4 and around turn number 5, still both side by side. Turn 6 as well. Gary trying to hold it around the outside, has to give that one up in the end. Larkin gets himself up into P8 on a set of the medium tyres. Where I said Hardy was the one we need to keep our eye for, now I think it is on Larkin to see where he can finish. As Funky Chicken making his way into the pits now for his early stop. Calvin also following suit. Bumpio picks himself up the first 3-second time penalty of the race on lap number 8. A lot later than what I was expecting, if I'm honest with you, but still the first one to pick it up. As so Calvin and Funky Chicken both made their way into the pits quite early as well, I've got to say. I mean, we'll see where Forza Brendan comes out in relation to the pair of them, but yeah, very, very early.
Yeah, very early stop still. Get the initial benefit as the initial undercut is very big, but yeah, long term, I don't know if it'll benefit them. I have to see. Yeah, you can see Forza Brendan was about a second behind Funky Chicken, as I see AJ Wuhan getting past Timon, or vice versa. They're squabbling. Actually, they're side by side still into turn 6. Timon is ahead, there's a bit of contact, but Timon keeps ahead. Just about both of them keep him on track, and I think Scream went past Nathan JB as well in behind.
Yeah, he certainly is. So Nathan now down into 4th position, and you can see, I think the mediums are now the better tyre in comparison to the soft tyres, because Larkin is just picking his way through the field with the rest of these guys. Still running on board, of course, with Larkin making his way through the second and the last corner, as Tibos got past Gary, but Gary's actually making his way into the pit. So Gary now into the pit lane. And we'll see where he comes out in relation to, of course, his fellow Irish driver, and not only that, but also with Calvin and Funky Chicken, because he was in a battle with Brendan and Funky Chicken. So if he somehow manages to slot in between the pair of them, that's going to be a bit interesting. But I don't think Funky Chicken's going to try and fight his teammate too much, if that is where they're going to emerge. You can see they're just coming through, or coming up towards turn 1. Gary quite significantly behind, as Creeko and Scream going side by side, and in fact Larkin slipped past Scream, and now also slipping past Creeko. Not too sure what had happened between the two AlphaTauris there, because Scream not only lost that place, he's now lost out to his teammate, and he's lost out to Tivos, and Tivos still side by side with Scream, coming through turn 5 and up towards turn number 6. Both still side by side. Tibos gets the inside and gets the move done in the end. So Scream now down into 7th position. This is where the crossover point is. You can really now start to see that these mediums are coming into fruition. These softs, these guys need to get off these softs quick time.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there was some contact between Nathan JB and Scream going into turn 3, which caused it all to bunch up, and Larkin could just benefit and go past both AlphaTauris now. He's able to be 4.
Not only that as well, Zadamo looking on the back of Scream, so Scream yet again could be losing out another place. Zadamo has about 80% of battery to his name, and Scream getting a very bad exit out of turn number 1. A little bit of contact between him and Zadamo. Zadamo trying to go over to the right hand side, and Scream almost putting him onto the grass, but now Zadamo putting his wheels there straight down the inside of the German and into P7, and Carmentalist following suit as well. The two medium drivers straight down the inside of Scream and getting that move done. Very beautifully done from the pair of them. Comment is going a bit defensive though on Scream. Scream trying to go back around the outside of the Relentless driver. It's a little bit of a Relentless beef, because Scream used to, of course, be in Relentless, and he's now down into 9th position. Slash has just joined back into the session, and well, unfortunately for him, he's 13 seconds down from June, so he's got a bit of a work to do if he wants to try and get himself back up at least to a points position. But even up the field, AJ Wuhan and Timon still the battling going on, as I believe AJ Wuhan made some sort of mistake, as Larkin picks up a 3-second time penalty, but AJ Wuhan made some sort of mistake. He's now out of the DRS of Timon.
Yeah, very interesting. That must be a mistake, because you don't easily drop away from the DRS. He just about got back in. Yeah, that's particularly interesting. Let's see where these guys are going to come out, by the way. Calvin is well ahead of Nathan JB. Let's see if this undercut for Calvin is going to work. Nathan JB and Scream are going to be probably both behind Gary. June picks up a penalty as well. And Nathan JB is almost a second behind Gary here, as AJ Wuhan is getting past Simon once again. So that's just how powerful the DRS is. You can be a second behind through turn 1 and overtake into turn 4.
Yeah, no, very powerful indeed, and obviously that's why we're having these DRS trains going on at this moment. Tibos has now gotten past Creeko as well, as Slash comes into the pits to retire. I think just sort of came back in the session just to retire that car for himself. But yeah, very close from third all the way down into, I believe it's P10, sorry, and yeah, the top 2 now into the pits. There's someone else also making their way into the pits, that is Creco. So Creco now into the pits. Larkin will now inherit the race lead, and I believe Tibos will be second, but you can't overlook Zadon because he's starting to close up to the back of him. Or saying that, sorry, he's in fact dropped out of DRS, so he's now got his work out for him. He's got the 2 Alpines, a Car Mentalist and Hardy, with DRS to try and contend with. And you can see Car Mentalist closing up to the back of Zadon. We're going to try and go around the outside in towards turn number 3. They're both still wheel to wheel, side by side between the pair of them. Zadon are holding it down the inside. Car Mentalist trying to get a better traction out on the outside. Doesn't manage to pick up the DRS that Zadama does. However, he's not using the DRS. Neither of them, interestingly enough, aren't using the DRS. And Car Mentalist does get the move done on Zadama in the end. Hardy almost going into the back of Zadama. Bumpier still not into the pits either on a set of the soft tyres, and he's now going to start to lose out of time and positions to everybody else's. Timon gets the move done on Funky Chicken. As interesting enough, where Timon's come out, he's separated between himself, Forza Brendan, and AJ Wuhan. Calvin is technically our net race leader by about 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, he's absolutely nailed this by the looks of it. I think AJ Wuhan and Timon were too focused on one another, and Calvin with the undercuts, 3 laps of him, he just completely disappeared into the into the leads essentially. But AJ Wuhan is pushing a lot as he's run out of deployment this lap. Hardy's round to turn 1, and he is retired from the session. Will that bring anything out, I wonder?
It potentially will. Virtual. Yeah, it's a virtual safety car. So, well, that's our 3rd retiree of the session now in 13 laps. And in fact, it's gone to a full course safety car. So it's not a virtual anymore. It's now a full safety car. Now, what's the interesting thing about this? The guys that are on a set of medium tyres, they're going to struggle to get to the end. If they were to put on a fresh set of the soft tyres, they can do it, but you'd need very good tyre management. Very good tyre management to get it to the end. As I said, it's doable, but it's so tight.
If we're looking at who is on those mediums as of right now, there are guys that could do it. If anyone could do it, it's Saitama. We know he's really on his tires. Commentalist as well. Yeah, if anyone can do it, they can. But let's see if they stay out or decide to go in. Larkin and Tibble stay out. Saitama's in. Commentalist stays out. Bumpier was still on the soft, so it makes sense for him to go in. Tinkan is in as well. Let's see where these guys are going to go onto pits. Bumpier will definitely go into the mediums. Saitama, is he onto the softs? He is onto the softs. Very bold call here. And Tinkan, let's have a look later on in the pit lane where he's going to go onto. I think he's onto...
Softs.
You said hard? Softs. Softs as well. So these guys are going to be very interesting to keep an eye out on. Saitama's not far behind his teammate. He's actually in a net P8 LB. He's got a lot of potential here if he can make the size last.
Yeah, he definitely needs to get some moves done early on. He needs to, take full fruition of the soft tyres in comparison to everybody else being on a set of the medium tyres out in front. Of course, Larkin, Tibos and Car Mentalist, I understand them staying out, but I think they're just going to get absolutely jumped by everybody else when the safety cars come in. So I'm surprised they didn't even come in to maybe just change tyres, come in again to change the tyres to go back to mediums or something. But yeah, they haven't even really come in at all. So Larkin now on the back of the safety car and is currently our leader. Tibos in second. Well, Larkin also with a penalty as well. You've got to remember that. Tibos in second. Car Mentalist in third. Calvin is technically our net race leader, but the gap that he had between himself and AJ Wuhan, he's now on 4 lap older tyres than AJ Wuhan, and that gap that he had with the undercut has now completely been taken away, and AJ Wuhan now has the opportunity to try and pounce, to try and potentially take his first race win this season.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have a look at that. I think why these guys may have tried to stay out, as I see Tinkan going back in, so he has done the thing you just suggested that those guys would do. He's going to go back onto the mediums on a fresh set. What I think these guys are trying to do is gamble for another safety car to come out, and because it's Austria, a lot of times when a safety car comes out, another one will come out very soon. So what they're trying to expect is, hope for another safety car and then go on to another set of softs, probably.
Yeah, no, they certainly could do. So it's going to be, it's obviously going to be Larkin that will take us back through it once it comes to the end of Sector 2. Tinkan and Doom should catch back up but they're now down, of course, in 16th and 17th position, obviously respectively, with them making another pit stop on this lap. But yeah, it's really up to Calvin to try and control the rest of the guys behind him. Obviously, the guys in front are on the 14-lap-old tyres. Calvin, of course, on 6-lap-old. If he can maybe get past at least Car Mentalist, if AJ Wuhan can't, on this restart, then he might still have the opportunity of being able to break away from AJ Wuhan. He just needs to play it smart. That's the thing. That's the only thing around this. He needs to try and play this smart, try and play this right. So if he can, he has that opportunity of being able to at least take his first race win for tonight. I mean, from the looks of things, Calvin, Wuhan and Brendan are all on for a shout of taking their first win for tonight. Timon, of course, taking the win last week out in Portimao. Taking second in Portimao. So he's also looking for his first win tonight as well. I don't know how this is going to play out yet. Of course, Larkin's going to take us on this restart. And he's going a little bit fast as well. So I wonder if he's going to try and play this as late as possible. And I wonder if Tibos is going to be able to read this restart. And there he goes. He's already gone out of the second to last corner. Car Mentalist has read that beautifully from Tibos. Calvin hasn't. And AJ Wuhan has done a lot better on reading that as well. He is only 2 tenths behind Car Mentalist though. Very close to the back of Matt Tibos. And not going to be able to get any sort of move down in towards turn one. A little bit of a slide from the pair of them. But Car Mentalist getting a much better exit. And now ERS wide open. Try and get this move done on Matt Tibos in towards turn number one, but not going to be able to get close enough to do anything. Are we going to see something else down the field? Let's have a look. Forza Brendan trying to maybe go for the attack on AJ Wuhan. Not going to be able to get any sort of move done. Timon has to back out as well. I thought he was going to go for the move on Forza Brendan, but where Brendan was trying to go for a move, he then had to back out. Looks very clean sort of throughout the field. No position changes whatsoever since that restart. A little bit of a lock-up though. I believe that was from Forza Brendan or QRT Timon. It was one of those two. But yeah, Timon still in 7th position and very close to the back of the Irishman.
Yeah, he's looking quite quick at the moment. I've been on board with him for a bit, and he is looking all the way around, trying to find a way around the Mercedes, I should say. And I think he'll go and try for a move very soon.
Yeah, he certainly will. Look at this though. Larkin already getting that 1 second gap out from Matt Tibos. So now without DRS, of course, there's not going to be any DRS for this lap, but it will be activated on the next lap. And Matt Tibos really is the one that's holding up the rest of this pack. Car Mentalist trying to use that ERS. He needs to get this move done on Tibos to try and keep him in this DRS train. Of course, Tibos is still trying to use that ERS as well as Timon now looking to go around the outside of the Irishman of Forza Brendan in towards turn number 3. Are they going to be able to get this kept clean? They certainly will. Timon gets a much better traction coming out of it as well. Both using their ERS to try and stay out ahead of one another. Timon has got a little bit more to use. Brendan still going to be holding it down the inside though. A little bit of a late break from Forza Brendan and shoving his way straight back through. Very good move indeed from the Irishman to keep that position in the end. Timon, I don't think, is going to be too happy with that one, but it was still legal nonetheless and gets the move done. Very nicely done from Forza Brendan as AJ Wuhan now all over the back of Ariel Calvin. Not going to be able to get any sort of move done coming in towards the final corner, and neither with QRT Timon. Brendan, I thought we might have been trying to go a bit defensive in towards the final or second to last corner, but had to back out of that one in the end. Timon though just looks so much quicker in comparison to everyone out in the pack, and look how close he gets to the back of or to that rear wing of Forza Brendan. Interestingly enough, Tibos still not within DRS of Larkin, and he's only on 10% ERS, so he's going to be under pressure not only from Car Mentalist, but from Calvin, but from AJ Wuhan. Just coming up in towards turn 3. There goes Car Mentalist. Calvin going to try and follow suit. Is AJ Wuhan maybe also going to try it? He's tried to go defensive down the inside as Tibos, but Calvin just forces his way down the inside. Gets the move done. Very nicely done for the Belgian driver. And now Tibos will have the DRS, but he's side by side, of course, with AJ Wuhan. Tibos is getting the slipstream from Ariel Calvin. However, he hasn't got the ERS to use to try and stay up ahead of AJ Wuhan. Gets the move done. Calvin was probably hoping for a little bit of an easier, hoping for it to be made a bit harder for him, but Timon also moves his way through, and I didn't realise also got past Forza Brendan in the end. I thought Brendan, I didn't see him get back past Brendan.
Oh, Calvin has a moment out of turn 7, and he touched the curb on the inside. He's lost almost 3 positions with Tibos now going down the inside of him into turn 9. And Calvin's not going to be able to make that 6, so he is lost out severely as he goes back down the inside of turn 10, and he's made that one stick somehow.
Wow, so very good move from Calvin. However, that's now dropped them out of the DRS. Look how close this is coming in towards turn number 1. Tibos and Forza Brendan. So close of each other. A little bit of contact between the pair of them. I don't know who that was getting contact with Zaldemar. Yeah, it was just, they're literally going Noah's Ark once again. Zaldemar makes his way up into 7th now on the set of the soft tyres, and he's just going to keep on moving up all of those positions. Gary and Brendan once again going at it. A little bit of contact between the pair of them. Gary and Brendan still both side by side, both using the ERS to try and stop ahead of one another. Forza Brendan cuts it back towards the outside. Gary's going to try and go back down the inside in towards turn number 4. A little bit of contact between the pair of them. Gary has to give that one up. Brendan now up into 10th position, but what was that going in towards turn 1? That just looked like there was so much carnage.
I think what happened, well, Brendan looked up a bit and caused the pack to stand a bit still at the apex of turn 1, and Funky Chicken ran into the back of him, which is why he's got damage now. One person who's benefited of this, Sedema. Look at him, he's in P7, he's got Tibble's head. If he can get past here, he can catch up to the leaders.
Not only that, look how much ERS he's got left to play with as well. Matt Tibbos, of course, he's built his ERS up a tiny bit. Funky Chicken picks up 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Zaldaman now, though, DRS wide open, ERS being used, goes straight past Matt Tibbos and gets that move done. Mentalist and Larkin, though, both side by side, coming in towards turn number 3. Straight down the inside, he goes. AJ Wuhan's also going to try and follow suit. So AJ now, of course, into our net lead of the race. And not only that, you can also see QRT Pyman trying to also move his way up as well. Of course, the 2 Alfa Romeos both going at it with the Ferrari driver. AJ Wuhan straight down the inside, gets that move done in the end. Larkin now has to back out of that one. And now him and his teammate are both side by side, but Larkin just lets his teammate go. He knows he's not on the same race as his teammate. He needs to try and get back up to the back of Car Mentalist though as well, and I think that's going to be the tall order. But Larkin can really help out his teammate here if he holds up Calvin just that little bit more. It just leaves Timon to just know that he can go on the attack rather than having to try and defend from anybody. Of course, they're still going to be in this DRS train, but he can at least have a little bit of breathing room to try and go for the attack on AJ, because he knows his teammate won't try and go for the move on him.
Yeah, definitely. No, Sidemas in the DRS of Calvin, I think, just about. So he might have just missed it, I'm not sure. No, he's got it. But now AJ Williams is going to go into the attack on Carmentalus, and it's going to be an easy move down towards turn 3, and he's got that completed. Can Timer follow towards turn 4? That's the question, though. That's the question. Can he get past? As Gary gets past Tibbles as well, down into P10. I don't think Time is close enough here. He doesn't have enough ERS to actually go for a move. Because Carmentalist is getting very close to the back of AJ1 actually. But Timon has to find a way past Carmentalist here. Otherwise AJ1 is just going to get away.
Yeah, no, he certainly will do, and you can really see Commentalist just sort of starting to struggle a lot more on these tyres now. I think we might see the medium runners maybe make their way into the pits. The ones that didn't pit might see them make their way into the pits maybe this lap or the next lap. So we'll keep on board with Commentalist as he's just riding behind AJ Wuhan. No, he's not actually coming into the pits, interestingly enough. So he's now staying out. Timon, though, look how much closer he is to the back of Carmentalist. The only problem for Timon, though, Carmentalist has got ERS and DRS to play with, so that he can stay up ahead of the Alfa Romeo driver. Even though he's on 21 lap old tyres compared to his 9, he has the opportunity to just stay up ahead. Not only that, though, he's closing up to the back of AJ Wuhan. He's not, of course, going to go for the move in towards turn number 3. Timon isn't either, but there are a few people side by side. Calvin and Larkin were both side by side, but Calvin had to back out of that one in the end. He knew Larkin was not going to be giving that one up. And even further up ahead, Carmentalist might now try and go for this move on AJ Wuhan. AJ Wuhan's going to go defensive in the inside in towards turn number 4. Hyman, I thought, might have tried to go for that move when he saw Carmentalist move over to the left-hand side, but no, he doesn't. Maybe in towards turn 5 he does, but no, again, has to back out of that once again. Tibos and Tinkan, though, are both side-by-side for that P13 position. Tibos has to back out of that one as Hardy has left the session, but Tinkan manages to get that move done on TTG Tibos, and Tibos as well, despite doing that restart in second position, he's all the way down in 14th, out of the points, and has to make a pit stop as well, as Nolan making his way past him as well. Larkin, as you said, yeah, coming into the pits. Tibos still stays out on track at the moment. Not too sure as to the reason why, but interestingly enough, Timon, Carmentalist and Wuhan has now got that 1 second gap separating them between himself and Calvin. So Calvin hasn't got any DRS. Now Zadma going to go down the inside of the Belgian and get the move done. So Zadma now, of course, on much fresher and softer tyres. He's now going to be able to try and catch back up to that leading group. Zadma is on for a podium once again, just from pure pace.
Yeah, his race pace is phenomenal, and if he can make those softs last, this is going to be an incredible thing. One thing to note, I think why Carmentalist and Tibbles are saying that is that they're just gambling for a safety car at this point. If they pit, they are down into 14th, 15th. They're not going to get anything off of that. You might as well just gamble on the safety car in that case.
Yeah, certainly will do. And Car Mentalist and Timon both on sort of very equal ERSs as well. AJ Wuhan is just being allowed to run away from this pack. Car Mentalist has got the DRS, so again, he can still defend from Timon coming up in towards turn 1, but into turn 3, I think it might be a struggle to say. Now, Car Mentalist, I think he's got himself back into the DRS of AJ Wuhan. Yeah, he certainly has, and he's using the ERS as well. So Timon going to be extremely frustrated with everything that's going on here, because he wants to get the move done. He wants to go on the attack on to AJ Wuhan. I thought we might have seen him go for a dive in towards turn 3, but touches the back of car, or the back of that car of the Alpine, and Alfa Romeo again. He's not going to be able to get anything done. He needs to build up the ERS even more. Of course, Car Mentalist isn't just going to move out of the way. He has to try and work and get that move done in the end. Interestingly enough as well, Nathan
Timon
is doing very nicely. Yeah, Timon now actually going for that move. As soon as I go off board with him, Car Mentalist must have made some sort of mistake. Down the inside he goes in towards turn number 6. Gets the move done in the end. Turn 7 and turn 8. Timon now into second position and does just about keep within the DRS. And not only that, Zadama now also maybe trying to look and see if he can get a move done on Car Mentalist as well. But unfortunately, and towards the final 2 corners, not particularly the best place to try and go for anything. He's going to just try and buy his time though. Probably get a better exit coming out of turn number 1 and go for that move on the Alpine driver after that. But yeah, Timon now has gotten that move done on Car Mentalist in the end, so he's now just going to need to try and go for something. And there you go, Zadama, the much better exit coming out of turn number 1. Car Mentalist, I don't think he's going to try and fight this one too hard. Down the inside goes Zadama before turn number 3. Gets the move done in the end. Larkin setting the fastest lap of the race in 15th now. And actually, Tibos has just made his pit stop. So Car Mentalist is the only one that has yet to make a pit stop. And you can see Timon now, once again, on the attack on AJ Wuhan. Maybe trying to go down the inside. No, turns off his DRS once again. But with him doing this and holding that up, Zadama is now all over the back of him. So he needs to try and make a decision on trying to go for a move on him or not, as Joom has gone round at turn number 4. Are we going to see another safety car?
Yeah, safety
yes,
car.
we are.
And that's perfectly played into the hands of Car Mentalist then.
It certainly has.
Let's see how he's going to pit, actually.
It certainly has. Not only Car Mentalist, though.
Looks like he's pitting in. Yeah, AJ Wuhan's in. Timon stays out. Zadama's in. Car Mentalist is in. Calvin is in. Nathan JB stays out. Bumpy stays out. Brendan stays out. Gary and Scream are in. Nolan stays out. Tinka stays out. Rico's in, so it's very split here. Of course, I don't think these guys at the back will go in. This is made for a very interesting development in the race.
It certainly has. Larkin as well. He's just coming down the start-finish straight. He made his pit stop only 2 laps ago. He's now getting a few positions on the jump here as well. You can see coming through turn 1. He's side by side with Zadama, but he's not close enough to getting that done in the end. He just needed the better exit, but unfortunately didn't. Zadama, though, emerges in P8. AJ Wuhan emerges in P7 on the set of the soft tyres. I think these medium runners are going to have their work cut out for them for sure, especially considering that Nolan and Bumpier have got themselves penalties as well. So they're really going to be under pressure from the rest of the soft runners. But Nathan and Timon, I think, might be the only ones that still have their opportunity of finishing on the podium. Of course, we're not going to have any DRS for the first 3 laps once the safety car comes in, which I reckon will probably be around lap 28 is when we'll get going once again, once, of course, Funky Chicken has caught himself back up. But it's allowed those guys that didn't make their first pit stop, and you were right, it's playing into their hands perfectly. The ones that didn't make their first pit stops, they've been allowed to come in and get their pit stops done. Well, the only one that didn't really was Car Mentalist, and he managed to come in and is now up into 10th position. Probably a lot better of a starting position, or a lot better of a finishing position than when he actually started. So in 10th, not a bad one from Car Mentalist to say the least. And not only that, AJ Wuhan and Zadama as well, they've been allowed to just sort of come in, chuck on a fresh set of the soft tyres. They've now got about 2 laps to do to go for the attack on the set of the medium runners, and if he can do that before the DRS gets activated, then they've still got a good shot of getting themselves on that podium.
I think they still have a very good chance of even winning it. It really depends on how that medium train stays intact for the first couple laps. As you said, if guys like Nolan, Tinka and Brendan, if they're gonna quickly start falling down, then it just opens the gates for AJ Wuhan and Zadama and anyone else in behind. If they manage to stay within the train and they don't really lose any positions, it's going to be a lot tougher for the soft runners.
Yeah, no, it certainly will be. So Wuhan and Zadama both need to utilise their softs. Zadama, of course, did that under the first safety car, or after the first safety car, shall I say. He now needs to do it once again, utilise these soft compounder tyres to try and get these moves done on those medium runners up in front. Of course, the safety car, as I said, will be in this lap, so Timon will lead us on this safety car restart. Nathan is in second and Bumpier is in third, but of course with Bumpier having the penalties, and I'll have a look at the penalty situation at the moment, because only 5 people, interestingly enough, on lap 27 have penalties. Considering the amount of invalidations we'd seen in qualifying, I'm quite surprised only 5 people have gotten themselves a penalty. As all, Nathan's car just sort of lagging. I thought he went off track then, but I think it just must have been some massive lag spike from him. But well, they look to see when Timon does opt to go. He might try and go either ASAP or before, and yeah, he's already gone. So there we go. Before the second to last corner, he's gone. Those top 4, by the way, very good restart. Tinkan has been caught absolutely sleeping on this restart. AJ Wuhan all over the back of him before the start-finish line. Remember, you can't pass before the start-finish line. They have now gone past it. Tinkan's going to try and go defensive in towards turn number 1. AJ Wuhan has to go around the long way, around the outside of the hash driver. He gets sort of bumped out. And now, AJ Wuhan still side by side with Tinkan as the Zadama's gone.
He's just lost it out of turn 1, I think. That's such a strange thing from him. You don't ever see that from Zadama.
You certainly don't, so very unfortunate.
Launch it back down the inside of AJ Wuhan. He's get forced out wide. Larkin is now for Larkin is going to try and make a move then towards turn 4. Is he? No, he's not. AJ Wuhan has to stick him behind. Of course, Larkin has a pen, so he'll be hindered by that. But yeah, it does help Larkin for now. And Tinkan, yeah, he was absolutely napping on the safety car restart. Already 1.1 across the start-finish line. He has to work it out for him because he's going to get swallowed by this soft runner train.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's starting to come back up to his teammate, interestingly enough, though. But yeah, he really is going to get swallowed up by this soft runner train. I'm quite surprised that Zadama, though, as AJ Wuhan almost going in into the back of Larkin through that second to last corner. But yeah, they need to now try and get their ways, or try and move their way up. Larkin, of course, is going to lose a few positions because of this penalty that he's got, but he needs to try and utilise this as much as he can. Get past these medium runners, especially Tinkan, because AJ Wuhan, look how close he is to the back of Larkin. Larkin's not actually using his ERS, not even under braking is he going to try and go for it, as AJ Wuhan trying to force his way around the outside of Larkin in towards turn number 3. He's now had to back off of that one, and Carmentis is now going to use his ERS to try and get this move done on AJ Wuhan. AJ Wuhan's going to try and go defensive on the inside in towards turn number 4. And yeah, does manage to keep that in the end, so Carmentis just having to back out of that one, but gets a bit of a better exit coming out of turn number 4 and has to stay behind once again. But it's all really kicking off now here. Larkin all over the back of Tinkan. I'm really surprised this soft runner train hasn't made any inways on any of these medium runners, and Tinkan is now back within DRS.
Yeah, Tinkan's been defending very well, I've got to say, and yeah, he's trying to help his own race, and of course his teammate up ahead as well to lose his least amount of positions as they both possibly can. DRS is now enabled, as it says, so onto the straight towards turn 3. It'll be the first time they have it, and everyone has it apart from the first driver this time. And Nathan JB is looking for a move down the inside, actually. Is he going to make that one stick? A very late one? Yes, he is. Timon is not going to fight that too much, although Nathan JB has a moment on the exit. Timon is going to get back through. Is he going to hold that? Because he does not have the DRS, and I don't think he's going to be able to. Bumpy is looking as well, but he's not going to get through. Larkin, in the meantime, ran the outside of turn 4, bit of contact on the apex. But Larkin does get through into P6, and that's one disposed for the Alfa Romeo.
He needs to try and get more, though. It's not enough just getting the one, because then Wuhan can try and follow suit. So he needs to try and get more than one. A little bit of curb riding with Wuhan and with Carmentis. And Carmentis, you can see, I think, is a bit quicker than what AJ Wuhan is, only because he's stuck behind Tinkan. You can really see Tinkan just, well, he's just being set up here as AJ Wuhan. There you go, 3-second time penalty for Wuhan. So this is now completely cost him the win of this race. Carmentis, by the way, could still be on for getting himself onto this podium. Tinkan trying to hold it down the inside, and it was turn 1. Has to back out of that one. Tinkan, in fact, goes around in the end. So very unfortunate for Tinkan. There's a ride on board with Timon. Going to go around the outside of Nathan JB as well as Bumpier in towards turn number 3. Timon has to just sit on the outside of that. Bumpier trying to go down the inside. Forza Brendan and Nolan both side by side now as well. Nolan trying to go around the outside of the Irishman. Forza Brendan will have the inside as Nolan completely around the outside. Gets the move done in the air. Very nicely done. Larkin follows him as well. So Larkin now up into 5th position. Forza Brendan now down into 6th. He's still on for the podium though because he hasn't got himself any penalties. But AJ Wuhan now trying to go down the inside of Forza Brendan. A little bit of contact between the pair of them. Still both side by side between the pair of them as well. And as you can also see Larkin trying to eye up a move on Nolan in towards the second to last corner. Has to back out of that one though. Timon and Nathan both going side by side. In fact, Nathan loses it on, I don't know how he lost it, but ended up losing it in the end. And now down into 3rd. And Nolan trying to go for the move on Nathan in towards turn number 1. Nathan breaks very late. Nolan going to go for a bit of a switchback on the McLaren. And very beautifully done. Gets Nolan into 3rd position. Nathan still on the podium though with all the battling that's going on and all the penalties that everybody has. He's going to try and go back down the inside in towards turn number 3. This is an absolute 5-lap shootout going on as Larkin follows suit. Nolan has to go out wide. Pinched it a little bit with with Nathan. Larkin and Forza Brendan now side by side. I think Larkin's tyres might start to be degraded a bit more because Brendan coming back at the Alfa Romeo driver and gets the move in, or manages to keep the position in the end from Forza Brendan, and Car Mentalist follows him through. And not only that, there's 3 wide coming through turn number 6. AJ Wuhan, Scream and Forza Brendan all 3 wide, and Brendan loses out yet another 2 positions, now down into 9th position. 24 laps on these medium tyres. He probably should have pit on that second safety car to try and keep with these soft runners, but now he's just losing position after position. I think that's his podium chances completely gone for Forza Brendan. Car Mentalist, Nathan JB are still on for this podium position. Nolan and Bumpier have got those penalties, and Nolan I don't think has got any DRS now. He's going to have to try and defend from Nathan and from Larkin, and you can see how much these two are closing up to the back of them.
Yeah, Nathan JB is going to be paused before the corner. Is Nolan going to be able to get the switch back on him though? I don't think so. He's got the DRS however. He's going to try. He's draining every bit of drop of ERS he still has, which is not a lot. Larkin is looking as well down the inside. It's almost going to be 3 white. Larkin is going to complete that move, I think, as the traction of the softs will just be much superior to the ones of those 20 lap old mediums. Hermetal is looking as well down the inside. He's not going to be able to make a move right there. And now down towards 7, it's all kind of closed down a little bit, but Carmentalist is still looking onto the back of Nolan, and he wants to get past as soon as he can.
You can literally put a sheet over all of these guys. It's so close with everyone that's going on. Parmental is still all over the back of Nolan. Nolan really now starting to struggle on 20 lap old medium tyres. We've got 3 more laps left to go. Hyman is still in the lead of this race. Bumpier with that penalty in second, but they've managed to get a bit of a gap, and Bumpier could be on for getting himself onto the podium with just the amount of battling that's going on behind him. Mentalist gets the move done on Nolan. Not only that, AJ Wuhan going to try and follow him as well. Larkin gets the move done on Nathan. AJ Wuhan down the inside of Car Mentalist. Nolan getting a back around the outside of Car Mentalist. AJ Wuhan now losing another 2 positions as Tinkan has gone around and completely out of the session now. So now got 13 people left in the session. Funky Chicken down the inside of Nolan in towards turn number 4 as well with those soft tyres. Gets the move done in the end. Funky Chicken again is another one that is still on for a potential podium as well. With the amount of battling that's going on, Larkin is starting to close up to those top 2, which is really what Bumpier would not have needed. But with all of that battling going on and the guys that have got those penalties, it's really hampering Bumpier and really hampering Larkin. Not only that, Nolan, Wuhan and Scream are the other ones with penalties, and there was towards the back end of that train, Nathan, Car Mentalist and Timon look like they're the ones that are going to be on this podium unless one of them pick up a penalty in these last 2 laps.
Yeah, and just to mention Funky Chicken's route back to the top is exactly why you do not give up, because safety car came out perfectly for him. But in the meantime, we have Bumpy down the inside of Time, and he's gone through. Time is not going to fight that too much. Commentalist running outside of turn 3 on Nathan JB. Nathan JB is going to squeeze him out wide. But on the softs, Commentalist can hold on, and I think he's going to get past here. Nathan JB nothing to defend with. Funky Chicken is looking at that move as well. As Timon is back down to first place, and he is through. He's leading so far, but Carmentalist is the next threatener for him. He's 3 position behind. It's going to be a miracle for him if he wants to get up there.
Yeah, well, I mean, Commentis, all he's got to do really is just sort of sit behind. I don't think the win's on the cards for him unless Timon picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. But I don't think a win is on the cards for him. Funky Chicken and Nathan side by side coming in towards the second to last corner. Going to try and go for a bit of a switch back in towards the final corner, but no, not going to be able to get the move done. Funky Chicken has to back out of that one. Now into the final lap of the race as Nathan has a bit of a mistake. Now Funky Chicken up into 5th position. Larkin and Carmentalist. I think now with Nathan having that oversteer, Funky Chicken is now onto the podium position. So QRT Timon is going to be looking like he could take this win, as I said, unless he picks himself up a penalty. We're onto the final lap of the race, and Bumpier might try and look to go for a move in towards turn number 3. No, has to back out of that one. But now, you can see Larkin gets a much better traction coming out of turn number 3. They're all using the ERS to try and get as high as they possibly can. Bumpier maybe trying to go around the outside of Timon. Timon does cover that one off and close the door on him in the end. But Bumpier gets a much better run coming out of turn number 4. Are we going to see maybe some sort of move going down in towards the final lap? It looks as if it's going to just sort of follow suit how it is at the moment. Timon, still in the lead of this race, has been quite controlling with, of course, the rest of the guys that have been pitting on those sets of medium tyres. He pit very, very early on. It didn't, he was one of the last ones out of the front runners to make that pit stop. It didn't really work out for him, but with those 2 safety cars and everybody else making their pit stops as well, with keeping it penalty free, Timon picks up his first win of the season. Car Mentalist will take 2nd, and Funky Chicken, with having that spin early on, takes 3rd position, almost beating out Car Mentalist in the end as well. Nathan JB takes 4th. And what a race that was in the end, yeah. Everyone's saying that you can't particularly overtake around Austria and that it could be boring with DRS trains, but it's definitely a DRS train. Well, that was definitely entertaining.
Yeah, that definitely exceeded my expectations by a country mile. I had no clue at the last end what was happening. There was so much going on. Very entertaining and, yeah, incredible.
Certainly was incredible, but this man on your screen, QRT Timon, ends up taking it. He was finished 2nd from last week. He's now on the top step of this podium. Car Mentalist onto the podium as well, and Funky Chicken, from having that early bit of damage from Forza Brendan, obviously blocking up as well, he got himself onto the podium in the end. I don't know how he's done that. Nathan in 4th, Bumpier in 5th, Tibble 6th, Forza Brendan 7th, Scream 8th, Nolan 9th, Larkin 10th, Calvin in 11th, and Gary picking up the final point. AJ Wuhan didn't end up finishing in the end. I think he did DNF within the last 2 laps. Tinkan in 14th as well, DNF in Creco, Zaldemar, Joom, Hardy, Slash, and Carwin Rob are all of our other DNFers in the end. And ironically, all the guys that saw DNF'd were the majority of the ones that had the penalties, or saying that 12th all the way up into 8th ones that had penalties other than Bumpier. But what an end to that race that was indeed, yeah. In the end, Timon did manage to hold on with Carmensis and Funky Chicken. Carmensis from 18th on the grid got himself up into 2nd.
Yeah, it's insane how much he gained, and the safety car, the gamble of staying out worked perfectly for him. I'll get the top 3 guys into the party now as well for the interviews.
But yeah, what a race that was indeed. I'm sort of losing my voice now as well. But yeah, congratulations to Timon, to Carmentalist, and to Funky Chicken, because what a race that was in the end. Of course, it was just a battle of strategy, but wow, oh wow, that looked so intense, especially at the end as well. And we have, of course, got some podium sitters into the party. And I suppose we'll start off with our race winner, Timon, managing to get yourself onto the top step this time. But that did not look easy, my friend. How was that for you?
I don't know. I'm surprised to be here. I suddenly got pace. I practiced and it didn't go well. I didn't have any pace at all, and I got in the race, and all of a sudden it was there. It aligned perfectly, and I'm very happy to be here.
Very good, very good. Well, yeah, I mean, as I said, it looked like it was such a sort of tight battle between yourself, AJ Wuhan, pretty much all race long. I don't know what had happened with AJ in the end of that, because I think he must have made some sort of mistake, and well, he just ended up dropping back in the end. Excuse me, but I mean, those last few laps, when you saw that the soft runners were making their way through the field, did you have any intention, or well, obviously you didn't pit, but was there any sort of thought in your mind to make a pit stop, or was it just the case you're going to the end on those medium tires, and you're just gonna keep it going from there?
I mean, AJ pitted, that's why he dropped back, and I wasn't even thinking of pitting because it was very close to the pit lane. I just stayed out and just see everyone behind me pitting. I'm like, oh, that's not going to be good if everyone on soft's going to be behind me. And then like 5 others stayed out. So top 6 was all mediums, and I knew like I have a solid chance, a solid fighting chance. And then leading medium runner was Larkin, which is my teammate. We were in a party, so I wasn't really too worried. And I had the boom kid who was fighting at a penalty, which he could maybe remove. Who knows? So I wasn't really worried. I knew I had it if I didn't bottle it. Because I got 2 warnings on the first 2 laps trying to run away within a second, and I didn't get a single warning afterwards, which I was very nervous about. I was driving like on 80%, just taking it safe, not getting a penalty, and I'm happy with the final result. I definitely didn't expect it.
No, as I said, you've done very well to hold off everybody else as well that was just sort of charging through the field. You had a very good start as well, sort of getting that 1 second gap up at the beginning, and then sort of just starting to lose that towards the end of your first stint. But again, nonetheless, very nicely done. Obviously, next week, you know what track it is around next week, around a certain Monegasque track. Is that, I know you're on the pad, so I don't think it's one that you're going to particularly like, but are you maybe hoping to try and at least do pretty decent around there next week?
I want a point and I want to finish. That's my goal. And given the fact that it's Monaco and probably half the grid will bail out anyways, it's not too hard. So I asked if I was allowed to turn on ABS just for Monaco, because I did a 5-lapper there and I was overheating within half a lap on like pretty much lowest tire pressures. So it's not going to be fun. If I finish, I'll be happy. And I said last week I wasn't expecting to be on the podium, and I've won. But don't expect the same for Monaco.
Fair enough. Verstappen, you got any questions for our race winner for tonight?
Moving back to earlier on in the race, was there any reason why you'd stayed out so long? I think it was up until lap 11 or 12 you stayed out?
Yeah.
With Calvin getting a massive undercut on you. Were you ever worried at that point that you lost the race win, essentially?
No, I was confused that Calvin pitted that early, because I'm running fairly high tire pressures. I think 1 click off max. And I didn't think that the mediums would last that long. And I was just chilling, and I had my engineer saying, yeah, you should really pit this lap. And I was like, nah, I think I could go to lap 14. He was like, lap 14? You're crazy. So, and then I got overtaken by AG, and I was like, oh, I'll just follow him in. And I was surprised by that I lost like 3 seconds, I think, dropping back behind both Mercedes. I was surprised by how early they undercut, but I wasn't thinking of a race win. I was just hoping for good points, which I got with the race win, of course. But I wasn't expecting anything, so I'm happy with the outcome either way. I can't be not happy, actually.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for that one, Timon, and once again, congratulations for taking the win for tonight. And we'll move on over to our second place finisher, Car Mentalist. Who would have thought that you would have been on the podium, considering you started down in 18th position tonight?
Hello, fellow D2 driver. How you doing? Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's just a given, really. At this point, isn't it? I'm bloody amazing at doing it at tracks I absolutely despise for some reason. The fact that Austria is my best race of the season so far is kind of depressing. But I would like to dedicate this one to Joom. Joom, thank you so much for crashing out. I know that sucks for you, but it was amazing for me. So thank you.
Fair enough. We'll dedicate it over to the Spaniard. Fair enough. That's actually what I was just about to ask, because I know that you were one of the only 3 that sort of stayed out under the first safety car. Was you just really, I know Verstappen was saying it, was you really just hoping for that second safety car to come out, or was you thinking that there weren't going to be one and just going to try and pit as late as possible, just create as much carnage as possible?
I wanted to initially come in and do a double stop under the safety car onto softs and then back onto mediums again. But then I saw Larkin stayed out, and I thought, do you know what? I may as well just follow Larkin. Larkin's the luckiest person alive, so if it works for Larkin, it'll probably work for me. So I stayed out and followed Larkin and Tibos. And yeah, thinking about it, staying out probably was the better option. I think if I'd pitted and done the double stop, I would have just been at the back of the queue floundering. And by staying out, at least, it made people drive more aggressively, trying to get overtakes done, and it probably triggered some people to make mistakes and eventually doom crashing. So yeah, I think staying out was the right option. I was probably going to stay out to probably maybe 2 more laps before the safety car came out, and then I would have pitted for fresh softs, and probably some of the medium runners would have lost pace by the end, so I could have got a couple of places by the end on fresh softs. But yeah, Doom crashed at the perfect time for me, so it worked out in the end.
Fair enough. And also, with everything that sort of went on in that race, like those final few laps where you were sort of trying to chase down like the rest of the medium runners, I saw at times where you know, I could see that you wanted to get past Larkin, but then there'd be times where you wouldn't be able to. I know he had a penalty, so you've got the jump on him anyway. Was there any sort of intention that you wanted to try and, I suppose, lick the stamp and send it up the inside of Larkin to try and go for those medium runners, or did you just want to sort of just chill out, let them sort of fight it out, and then you just sort of pounce on it when they'd all make a bit of a mistake, or if they were like side by side and they lost a bit of traction?
Yeah, that was kind of my plan, really, kind of throughout the whole thing. I think at the end of the race, I mean, the racing standards at the end weren't particularly great, to say the least. So my whole plan was to just sit back and wait for things to happen and then just pick off places where I could. I knew 3 people in front of me had penalties anyway, so I would have had 6th on penalties. So I just wanted to pick them off one by one if they made mistakes, and everybody was so aggressive in that final part of it. So I actually played it safe, and it ended up working in my favour because people were diving it at turn 3 and then getting terrible runs off the corner, and I could just get a better run and breeze past them. So, and with Larkin at the end as well, I didn't think it was worth the risk trying to get past Larkin and Bump here to have a go at Thyman. I think I just didn't have enough laps left in the race. If there was 2 more laps, I probably would have gone for it. But I didn't want to take the risk and spin off the side of someone at turn 3 or pick up a penalty myself or force someone off and then get a post-race penalty. So I was just kind of sitting on hoping Thyman would get a penalty, which he didn't. But either way, I'm happy with 2nd. So yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And of course, next week it is Monaco. I know you love this track. Are we going to see a masterclass from yourself?
I bloody hope so, because I've hyped myself up enough in the past, haven't I? Yeah, Monaco's obviously, I love Monaco to bits. I love driving it. I'm pretty good there. So I'll be very disappointed if I'm at least not on the podium. I know there's some other fast people, like Zaudem is good at Monaco, so I'm expecting him to be right up there as well. I know that Forza Brendan, I think, likes Monaco as well. So yeah, we'll see. But if I don't get a podium, I'll be very unhappy.
Fair enough. Verstappen, you got any questions for our 2nd place finisher for tonight?
Well, following up on that, that good result at what you say is one of your worst tracks. Are you looking forward to maybe contending for the championship in the season? I know it's early, but with a lot of good tracks, I know Monaco you love, Jeddah is one that's coming up. You love that one as well. Is that something you're looking forward towards already?
I would like to, but I don't want to put that pressure on myself. When I put pressure on myself, I bottle very hard. So, I mean, look at any qualifying session ever. But I don't want to put it on myself just yet. I'm going to wait until we get past like Britain and Jeddah and that lot, because they're good tracks for me. So once we get past the likes of Jeddah and stuff, we'll see where we are then. And if I've been able to get good results in my good races, then yeah, I'd love to go for it. But I'm not going to count my chickens just yet. I'm gonna wait a few more rounds and see how I feel before I think about that.
Right.
Fair enough. And speaking of chickens, we'll move on over to our 3rd place finisher, Mr. Ariel Funky Chicken. First time on the podium in Division 2. 4 races in from getting moved up from Division 3. I'm sure you're probably ecstatic right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean,
that race was the biggest change in emotions I think known to man. So I'm happy the party won't get leaked, because after I got damaged, I just wasn't happy. So I don't know how on earth I've ended on the podium, but somehow that strat's paid off.
I was just about to ask about that because I saw what had happened was there was some carnage going into turn one. I think Verstappen said that Brendan locked up. You went into the back of him, had damage, and was dead last. Obviously, with everybody else that had DNF'd. So to be on the podium, I don't think you was expecting it. Like you said, probably the biggest turn in emotion. Just talk us through that start of the race, though, because I know that it looked like you and Brendan were sort of trying to work together to try and at least get Gary off of Brendan, but at the same time, you was also trying to move your way through your race as well. How was that start of the race for you?
Yeah, because throughout practice, me and Brendan realised our tyre wear was really minimal, so we thought we could pit quite early and still have good pace at the end of the race. So we both went for the undercut, and it paid off because we dropped Gary by 2 seconds, and then our aim was just to keep DRSing each other along and pull further away. But the safety car kind of ruined that strat as it pulled Gary back together, but we were losing a bit of time as I think TDB and Wuhan both pit into our train, and we started dropping a lot of time. So it would have been only a matter of time before Gary caught onto the back of the train.
Yeah, no, without doubt. And I mean, as I said, it was so tight throughout that entire field. Even those last few laps when you come into this, Larkin, were all sort of making your way through that through those medium runners. Was it always the case? Because I know you pit onto another set of the soft tyres when you was sort of down at the back end of the field under that second safety car. Was there maybe a thought that you might just sort of stay out? Because I know you was on, I think it was on like 4 or 5 lap old soft tyres. Was there like that thought that you wanted to stay out from that first safety car when you pit and just try and make up as many positions like Larkin did? Or was it always the intention to just come in, you knew you was at the back, and just try and just see what you can get from it?
I think the option was always to pit, because when I got damaged and I went into the pits, I went 81 kph out of 80 and got a 5-second speeding penalty. So the main thing was just getting that removed so I could carry on.
Fair enough. And of course, we've also got Monaco next week as well. Are you a fan of Monaco? Because I know we haven't raced it on this game yet in League of Europe. Is this one that might sort of favour yourself as well?
To be honest, I'd say yes, because I think the one thing I've improved at from D3 to D2 is just keeping my driving clean. And I know I've been involved in quite a few incidents that haven't been my fault so far this season, but it's just a track that requires a lot of concentration. I feel like I can do that. But I think the main issue would be the qualifying, because my qualifying pace is absolutely nowhere in D2.
Fair enough. I mean, you did qualify very well tonight anyway, so I suppose that's something that you can take out away for yourself. Verstappen, you got any questions for our third place finisher for tonight?
With what, after the last safety car, with what expectations did you go into the last couple laps? Did you have any aims to get any sort of points, or were you just like, we'll see what happens and go from there?
Yeah, I think the main aim was just points, because I only had one warning at the time and I still ended on one warning, and I knew there were penalties ahead, so that was the aim. But I think my biggest secret and strategy paid off. I was running very low wings and I would just breeze past anyone in a straight line, which paid off behind the likes of Creeko and Matt Tibos early on.
So you took one out of Incrementalist book.
I'd like a payment for that, please.
Fair enough. Well, I believe that will be the end of the Division 2 stream then. Verstappen, you got any final words for the race that we've seen for tonight?
I just want to say, what an incredible race to be back in the booth for. And maybe we'll do it more in the future, we'll have to see. Daki should be back next week. And it was a really enjoyable race to commentate over.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I'm sure you'll probably be in here next week, because I don't know if I will be staying for this one. But I don't know. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see next week. Obviously, hopefully I am, but you never know. But yeah, thank you to everybody that has tuned in for tonight. Make sure you guys are tuning in next week for what's going to be a very, very interesting Monaco Grand Prix. Of course, PC Fridays at 8 p.m. UK time. with Luke Etheridge, and then Saturdays Division 1, 3 and 4 at 6:30 p.m. 6:30 p.m. GMT, with Division 1 being covered by James Head and NSX Montana. Division 3 by Car Mentalist and Jess, who will actually be with Funky Chicken next week with Car Mentalist for Monaco, and Division 4 with Nolan and Tinkan, who Jess will actually be covering for Tinkan next week with Nolan. So make sure you tune in to those. And then of course Division 2 and Division 5 next week with maybe myself and Daka for Division 2, and then Division 5 with Killer Blue and QVR Packer. So thank you to everyone that has tuned in for tonight, and we will catch you guys next week for round number 5 around the Monte Carlo circuit.